You're tuned into the VSX Digital Sports Network. You're listening to the boss of the big ball, JB the Tech Guy.
More fire, more heat.
Vegas scoreboard. Turn that shit up.
Back at you live. JB the Ticket, Week 14 NFL is on deck. VSX Digital Sports Networks, Vegas Scoreboard Express. Good morning to all of you guys listening in streaming land. Having some issues with the transmitter this morning, some more technical difficulties. It is cold here in Vegas. Don't know what's going on, but we're trying to make it hot and bring the heat here this morning on Vegas Scoreboard Express. Listening on KSHP.com, JBTheTicket.com. Tune in, Spotify, iHeartRadio. You know what time it is. My main men are on the line with me. Scotty, beam him up, Webb. From the East Coast Sports Investors, MLB-Daily.com. Good morning, Scotty.
Hey, good morning, JJ. Good to be here.
I'm glad to have you back on the line with me, and I've got him with us, of course, back from Radio Row at the Army-Navy game yesterday. My main man, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors CEO. Good morning, Jeff. You watched a bit of a snoozer yesterday. Yes, but good morning to you. Go ahead.
Good morning, JB, and good morning, Scott. It was my first experience actually at an Army-Navy game, the 124th to be exact. And we took Friday at the Western. We were part of Radio Row there, did a couple shows there, did some interviews, and then Saturday up at the press box, and then we had a field pass, so literally went down on the field and was right in the end, so we could go anywhere you want on the field. JB, I'm still chilled. It's just amazing what those men and women do, and what a show they put on. Yeah, the game was, it was like watching Ivy League football. I mean, I'm right down the road from Harvard, Yale, and all that, but the pageantry, it just, tears and chills, JB, tears and chills.
There you go. So glad to have you back on the show today. Again, waking you up here on KSHP. We've had a bit of a technical difficulty situation this morning because simply it has been a little bit colder out here. But again, shout out to Army yesterday for winning that one over Navy 17-11. So when I get back from this short commercial break, guys, we're going to jump right into it. Big slate of NFL games on deck today. You can watch them over on FuboTV.com. Go to FuboTV/JB. I'm giving you 15% off your first month and 7 days absolutely free. So you can be able to watch these games with your friends and family for a low price. And then I'm also hooking you guys up with my friends over at Drizzly.com. You can get the alcohol delivered to your front door, over 21, legal drinking age. And if you got a problem, be sure to get some help and don't do that. But if you don't, and you know how to have a good time responsibly, click the Drizzly. Give you guys two quick shout outs, take this short commercial break, and then we'll come back to the grease. Go ahead. Scotty first.
Yeah, I just want to shout out to the Los Angeles Dodgers, I guess, signing Shohei Ohtani. How about that?
Sign him to $700 million, man. Inflation is good. Hopefully those dollars will have some value for the the Dodgers fans there. Still waking myself up here. Jeff Dawson, quick shout out. Take this commercial break. Go ahead.
Shout out to Army, Navy, Bob Kraft for getting the game there. Anthony Pepe, of course, Sports Map Radio. Thank you all.
That's what we're talking about here. And when you get back, guys, grab your bankroll, tuning in on the digital side today, VSX Digital Sports Networks. So sorry we're not broadcasting over the airwaves here in Las Vegas. I guess we got an ice chip or something knocked over the transmitter, but hopefully these guys will get up there and get it fixed so we can get back live on the air. So when we come back from this short commercial break, the grease. Keep it locked here, JB the Ticket, Vegas Scoreboard Express. Let's get the money.
You're listening to the boss of the big ball, JB the Tech Guy. Vegas Scoreboard Express, giving you that grease. Skip your cable bill this month and join the action with JB and Fubo TV. Get 7 days free, 15% off your first month. No credit check, no deposit, no installation hassle. Go to FuboTV.com/JB. Sign up, download the app, and start watching games.
Enjoy being a subscriber after the first month. Easy cancellation anytime. Regional restrictions apply. Sign up at VegasScoreboardExpress.com.
You're tuned into the VSX Digital Sports Network.
More fire, more heat. This mix is moved.
You're listening to the boss of the big ball. Vegas Scoreboarding.
Back at you live, JB the Ticket, Vegas Scoreboard Express. Got him on the line with me. Scotty, beam him up, Webb. MLB-daily.com. Follow him on the Bird X over at Webby20MLB. And I've got my main man on the line with me, Jeff Dawson from the East Coast Sports Investors, the CEO. Just back from Radio Row over at the Army-Navy game. So, guys, let's jump into it. NFL is back, Week 14. Tight spreads are the name of the game. It has been a league of parity this year, to say the least. The year of the backup quarterback. Guys are just getting knocked out of the game left and right. Let's talk a little bit about that in today's NFL. You talked a lot about saving the quarterback, changing of the rules. A lot of people don't like it. They say it's not as hard as it was in the past, but we're still seeing quarterbacks get knocked out of the game, and a lot of teams are dealing with that now. Starting quarterbacks have struggled. I'm just looking at some of the records across the board here. A lot of 6-6 teams, 6-5 teams that we thought were going to be good. They're not that great. And, you know, we got a glaring issue down in Carolina, 1-11. Their rotation number 1-1-1 today, going up against the New Orleans Saints, rotation number 1-1-2. That'll be the first game I get into today because it's a little bit interesting. They've got issues with Derek Carr. He's hurt down there again. Concussion protocol or something. So I'll start off with you, Scotty, talking about these injuries to the quarterbacks and just the parity that we've seen in the NFL this year. It's kind of wide open across the board. 7-8 teams vying for playoff spots from the wild card perspective. When you look at this season and you talk about it from making money in a betting perspective, it's been kind of a break-even type season, in my opinion, but go ahead.
Well, the NFL does things a little differently than like Major League Baseball and some of these things with their schedule. So, you know, Major League Baseball decided last year that they were going to have a schedule where all the teams played each other. So they reduced a lot of the in-conference play and all that kind of stuff. So it made a fair schedule. So the NFL does not have a fair schedule. The schedules are based off of the idea of what the team's records were and you know, obviously who they have to play in their own division. But, you know, the 49ers and the Baltimore Ravens and the Dallas Cowboys and the Eagles and teams like that, they're playing all the best teams in the league almost every week. But the teams like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Falcons and, you know, all these, they're playing all the teams that are bad. So the idea is that the competition level is going to turn out results that should be similar to, you know, 500 kind of numbers, except for the good teams if they can pull forward. So it's kind of like that almost every year, but this year it seems like there's only a few teams that are super dominant, and I think that's kind of where we run into the idea that people don't like the type of a season we're having, because, you know, when you think about, you know, the Chiefs, for example, is a team that I wouldn't say is super dominant. They can get beat by anybody. They got beat by the Packers last week, for example. But, you know, you start to look at it and you sit there and you go, oh, well, what kind of season are we having? Well, I think this is kind of a weird season in the sense that when you talk about the quarterbacks and the people not playing, you've got a lot of second-string, third-team type quarterbacks playing, and the results are turning out to be poor football play on the field. So it becomes kind of hard to watch sometimes.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's been a little bit difficult. Jeff Dawson, I'll throw this one at you. You are up in Patriots land. You guys have fallen all the way off. Bill Belichick was on college football Saturday yesterday, man, bringing out old war helmets. I mean, your thoughts on this? The quarterback play in the NFL. We've seen them from rookies to old stalwarts all go down. Their backups, even some of them are going down. And then you talk about that play. We've seen a lot of rough playing, meaning that it's hard to watch. 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Your thoughts, Jeff Dawson. Go ahead.
I think, unfortunately, it's the mentality of sports in general, and the NFL is just one of the 4 major sports where it's a must-win and win now. It's what have you done for me lately? I always like to bring this up, JB. When Patrick Mahomes was drafted 10 or 11, Kansas City moved all the way up and grabbed him 10 or 11th in the draft. They brought him into the office. Andy Reid sitting right there. They had a great conversation with him. And they handed him a clipboard, and to the right was Alex Smith. And they said very nicely to Patrick, there is your mentor. He is our starting quarterback this year. Take all the notes that you can, ask all the right questions. You'll be our starting quarterback the next year. And what happens now is the quarterback that gets drafted in the first pick, the second pick, anywhere in the first round, they are assumed to be the savior. Here's the ball, and go win for us. And not only it's impossible, number one, but number two, mentally, physically, it sometimes ruins these quarterbacks, and it ruins their careers. So that's what you get with that kind of mentality. And for the most part, when you run these kids out, that's the effort, and you're going to get on a 60-minute Sunday, JB.
Wow, telling you. Fans have been talking about it. Guys, let's go ahead and get into this rotation number. We were talking about it. Rotation number 111. Interesting on the list for me today because the Panthers are 1-11. And the line makers are definitely poking fun at them, letting them have it today. Rotation number 111, Carolina Panthers. Going out to New Orleans, rotation number 112. 5-7, -6, New Orleans. The total is 39. I don't know where 39 points is going to come from. Because you got Bryce Young, 1-11, got Frank Reich fired yet again. And you talk about it from a player perspective. They're not developing coaches anymore. They're not really giving guys an opportunity to build any sort of program in the NFL. And I think that's because of the bloated salaries. But again, 2 turds in a bucket today. See which one goes down first, betting to see which one floats. Carolina, you've got the number 1 draft pick, but you've only got 1 win. New Orleans, they picked up Derek Carr off the scrap heap out here from Las Vegas, and now he's injured. So when you go into these type of opportunities for a betting perspective, when you talk about it from that rotation number, again, rotation number 111, the Carolina Panthers, +6, 210 on the money line. Is there any type of dog play that you think might be an opportunity today on this game, the totals game, or just staying off this game? Because when I look across the rest of the schedule, most of the matchups look the same way. But go ahead. I'll start with you, Jeff.
Carolina was a money pit for me for a handful of games early in the year, and Vegas really has kept them, even though they can't win a game, they're point spreads of +3, +3.5, +4, short compared to some of the other teams that are having a hard time winning. Today at 6.5. I don't know what's going on with the NFL and the protocol. Miraculously, somehow, Derek Carr was cleared from his second concussion. There is no way in holy bleep that he should be starting today. It should be Jameis Winston. Taysom Hill is out as well with Michael Thomas. Call me crazy, JB. Give me the 6.5. Little pizza and beer money. Let's root for Bryce Young and company. I don't expect him to win. Maybe we can get the cover. How's that, sir?
Maybe can get the cover. I'm looking at it from a dog perspective. If you got Jameis Winston in there versus Bryce Young, I like the young rookie. Go ahead over to you, Scotty. Beam him up, Webb. Do you think there's any chance that Carolina can win this one today with the banged-up New Orleans? Go ahead.
Well, I like what Gus said in terms of I don't like Carolina's team. You know, they got the bounce back last week, or supposed bounce back from the firing of their head coach. And they came in and they covered the game. They played pretty well. They were relatively competitive last week, but I don't know that carries over. I mean, you've seen the Raiders kind of carry over a little bit when they fired their coach. But I would say this. You know, if you have Jameis Winston in control today, you're going to have the plus and the minus with that guy. I mean, that guy is the guy that's going to create a 75-yard touchdown pass. But he's also the same guy that's going to have a fumble and 2 interceptions. So that itself can keep Carolina in the game. So I certainly would not be betting on the Saints in this game just because of that. But if Carr's going to play in the game, I think you're going to have a less turnover problem. I think New Orleans has a better chance to cover the number. So I think it really depends on what quarterback's out on the field.
He depends on the quarterback. This one is a toss-up for me, too. The Carolina Panthers. I'm just going to say, I like them money line. I don't think that they have anywhere to go today but up, and this is a good spot for them. If you're going to try to win on the road, you're playing in a dome, you've got a chance to go into New Orleans and squeak out a win by one, lose by none type of situation. Let's move over to another team coming on today, the Lions versus the Bears. This has been a very interesting matchup over the last couple of weeks because the Detroit Lions are still holding on to first place in that NFC Central. Rotation number 109, the Detroit Lions on the road today, going up against Chicago, who somehow has scraped out 4 wins, 4-6 for Chicago. Again, Chicago is 4-8, 1-10. Now at +3, is it because they have Justin Fields back, or they're getting a little bit more grease on that? Why is Detroit being priced at a -3? Is it because of a lot of the offensive woes that we've seen with them recently? Jared Goff, everybody was giving him all this grease about he's not throwing picks, but the last couple of games he's been lighting it up and become quite the pick monster. So when you go from that perspective, Jeff Dawson, I'll throw this one at you, and then on the half-hour, guys, keep it locked here. Going to have my main man, John Ryan, Predictive Sports Betting Playbook, hopefully come on the big board with us. You talk about the Detroit Lions, still at 9-3. The Bears, they're coming off a bye week. Who do you think has the edge here? Because the Detroit Lions, again, they're a team that is playing with destiny, but not a lot of hype. Okay, they're not pulling the Colorado Buffalo thing here with us. Again, shout out Coach Prime. He's got a heck of a recruiting class coming in. Coach Prime, heck of a recruiting class. He said he's easy to find. But the Detroit Lions heading out to Chicago today. Do you think there's any opportunity for these guys to go ahead, make a dominant win, get to 10 wins on the season, or does Chicago play spoiler? I don't see the value in betting on Chicago today. -3, talking about +148 on the money line. Jeff Dawson, what do you think is going to happen here?
Detroit, Dan Campbell, America's team. When you look at the NFC and the games today, and we talked about it for the last couple of weeks, there could be a 4-way tie, JB, after the dust settles today, with the San Fran win, with the Dallas win, and with the Lions win. All those teams could end up being 10-3 in the NFC. I looked at this opening number. Don't forget, a couple weeks ago, Chicago in Detroit. Justin Field, that was his first game back, played a great game. Actually, a game they should have won. Detroit came back. I think they scored down 10 or 12 or 9, something like that, late in the fourth quarter, 2 scores to come back. My opening numbers, Detroit on that money line was minus 235. Chicago plus 190, now down to 170 and plus 150, as you said, plus 148. I like to play this game, JB, 2 ways, to be honest with you. I'm going to grab the Chicago here. Right now on DraftKings, I can get them plus 3.5. I'm going to grab them plus 3.5, and I will sprinkle some bear and pizza money on the plus 148 on the money line. I like Justin Fields. I like where they're going. The key to success is very simple. You need to keep Aiden Hutchinson out of the backfield, and I think they'll be looking to do that. And look for a big game from the Bears today.
Looking for a big game from Chicago, the home dog. Jeff Dawson says they're barking. Scotty, beam him up, Webb. From your perspective, do you think the Detroit Lions come in and roll today? Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I don't think the Lions are going to roll anybody anymore. They have a good offense, right? But their defense is one of the worst in the league. So I think this game opened somewhere around 4.5 for Detroit, and it's down to 3.5. And that's not because the public did that. I mean, the pro bettors are out there betting that number down. So there's a reason why people like Chicago in this game, and one of them is that in the last, say, 5 weeks or so, the Chicago defense, they are a top 10 type defense. I mean, they're doing some things that I don't think people are giving them credit for. You know, they're ranked 7th in the last 5 weeks on defense. And I don't think people are giving them credit for how good they have been. And, you know, they've been really good on both stopping the pass and stopping the run. So I like the idea that their defense can hold them in. I also like the idea that, what Jeff was talking about with Justin Fields and him being back and being able to create, make some plays. And the reality is that I don't think Detroit's defense can stop them. So this could be a really tight, close game, and sprinkling the money on the money line, that's a pretty good value.
He's telling you he likes the money line on this one, guys. We're going to take a short commercial break. Thank you so much for being on the big board with me. Keep it locked here with me. When we come back, going to be talking a couple more of these big dogs in the NFL. Week 14. You guys can follow me on Instagram at JBTheTicket. Follow me, guys. I got a lot of great deals for you, a lot of cool stuff for the holiday season coming up. You can save a lot of money going to my website, VegasScoreboardExpress.com. Daily deals, Fubo TV, Phyto Optical. That's a glasses company I got. If you guys want some of those Coach Primes, we got them. So, Scotty, I'll throw a shout-out over to you. Jeff Dawson, then I'll take a short commercial break. Just want to shout out my guys, Ron Third Down Best Bets, Linwood Hard Rock Hamilton, Defender of the Youth, and Ronnie B. He's a little bit under the weather today, so that's why he's not on the show. But he'll be back next week with his picks, and he's the chief handicapper at jbtheticket.com. So go ahead, Jeff Dawson, Scotty, and I'll take a short break. Go ahead.
Shout out to Franklin the cat. My daughter's cat had major surgery. He's up and running, so go get him, Franklin.
There you go, Franklin. Go get him. Get back into the fight. And Scotty, beam him up, Webb. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to shout out to my wife again. She's been putting up with a lot of stuff from me, health wise, and then doing these things that we do here, whether it's work this way and work that way, and being up all night and then betting on these games. So it takes a lot to put up with guys like me. There
you go. It takes a lot to put up with guys like Scotty. Beam him up, Webb, and you guys are going to want to stay up with him, myself, JB the Ticket, and Jeff Dawson, CEO of VSX Sports Investors, because when we get back, we're bringing you more grease. So keep it locked here. JB the Ticket, VSX, get the money.
You're listening to the boss of the big ball, JB the Ticket. Vegas Scoreboard Express, giving you that grease.
Rise before the sun. The predators who stalk the odds. The winners who demand an edge.
You're listening to the boss of the big ball, JP the Ticket.
Listen every weekend, Saturday and Sunday from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. to Vegas Scoreboard Express live on KSHP 107.1 FM and AM 1400 as I unleash a barrage of insightful analysis, expert predictions, and winning strategies from the sharpest minds in sports betting to get your money back from the sports books. Go to jbtheticket.com and tune in to KSHP this weekend, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. to win with the Sharps. JP the Ticket. Vegas Scoreboard Express. All money, all sports, no bull. Missed the live show? Subscribe to Vegas Scoreboard Express on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, and wherever you enjoy your favorite podcast and radio listening.
Basketball season is heating up, so stay in the game with Fubo TV. Get the NBA, NCAA, FIBA, and more. Get 7 days free at VegasScoreboardExpress.com. Don't get cabled. Get Fubo TV.
Kick off the football season with Drizzly.com. Score big with your favorite drinks delivered right to your doorstep. From ice cold brews to game day cocktails, we've got the perfect lineup for your football gatherings. Visit VegasScoreboardExpress.com and click the Drizzly. Now let's get the party started.
Drink responsibly. Must be of legal drinking age. Delivery and availability may vary.
Vegas Scoreboard Express, Saturday and Sunday morning at 6 on KSHP North Las Vegas, FM, AM, K2.6 HP North Las Vegas, and KSHP.com.
More fire, more heat.
You're listening to the boss of the big ball, JP the Ticket. Giving you that grit. Vegas Scoreboard Express. Always spitting that explosive fire.
Back at you live, JB the Ticket, Vegas Scoreboard Express. Here with my main guys, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and Scotty Beam 'em Up Webb from MLB-Daily.com. Jumping back into this NFL Week 14 picks. Again, being brought to you by our friends over at Fubo TV. Go to FuboTV.com. Get the 15% off by using FuboTV.com/JB. Saving you 15% off. Telling you each and every week, guys, make sure you do that. It's cheaper than cable. $75 a month, 15% off, $65 that first month. And you can save cash and keep yourselves nice and entertained with all the games that are coming up. Shout out to the Lakers last night. They won that NBA in-game tournament. You know, people who are digging the hoops right now, we'll be talking a little bit of hoops later on after football season is over. We want to focus strictly here on this pigskin, waking you up early in the morning, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Going to be changing the show time, too, during basketball season, guys. College football. Next week will be our last college football Saturday show for the 2023 year. All right. If you want bowl game picks, go to our website, jbtheticket.com, VegasScoreboardExpress.com. For Scotty, MLB-Daily.com. And for Jeff, East Coast Sports Investors. So, guys, let's get back into this. Talking about Scotty's Tampa Bay Buccaneers, rotation number 113. They're +2. They've been in a dog position for the last, the entire season. I thought Baker Mayfield would be doing a little bit better for you guys. They're heading to another dome in Atlanta, going up against Desmond Ridder and the Atlanta Falcons. -2, rotation number 114, -130. This one's got a pretty decent prize money line. I think it's going to be a win by one, lose by none type of situation. When you talk about Tampa Bay, pretty decent in covering the spread, 7-5. Overall record at 5-7. Can they turn it around in the last 4 or 5 weeks of the year? And you've got Atlanta kicking around right there. Another team in the NFC South at 6-6, 4-2 at home. Tampa Bay, unfortunately, is 2-4 on the road. Haven't been able to quite get over the hump. So, Scotty, let's talk about your home team a little bit, man. The Buccaneers haven't been buccaneering, and the Atlanta Falcons have been flying and landing, getting a lot of dirt on them, becoming those true dirty birds. -3, -2.5. Who do you like in this one? Go ahead.
Well, the Buccaneers are kind of a weird team in a sense that, you know, they're not really one of the best teams in the NFL by any stretch of the imagination. But they're a 500 team. Thought they'd be a kind of a 500 team, but in this division that they play in, 500 might win. So this is kind of a big game for them. You know, they win this game, and they're right up there tied for the lead. So I think you're going to see a really good effort from Tampa Bay today. Baker Mayfield, you know, got off to a pretty good start, and then he got hurt. Baker Mayfield's been playing hurt, so he's got some grittiness and toughness, and the players that are on that team, they really like this guy. So I do think they're going to play well today. I think that what the benefit for the Buccaneers today is, even though their defense is a little bit banged up, the offense for Atlanta is just not very good. So when you start to mix and match, I think that you're going to see where the Buccaneers can stay in the game, and then, you know, maybe late they can pull it out in the end. So I don't have a problem with anybody wanting Tampa Bay today. I think it's probably a good bet.
He likes Tampa Bay in this game. Jeff Dawson throwing this one at you. Looking at that total, opened at 39. Now over 41. We haven't seen a lot of scoring out of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers over the last couple of weeks. When you look at the last game that these guys played on December 3rd at Carolina, they won. Okay, was able to get you 21-18. But when you talk about it from the perspective of their point total throughout the season and all of their losses, these guys have been under 20 points. Which tells me it's got some tepid offensive issues in Tampa Bay. Do you like the Atlanta Falcons today? Can they right the ship, get to 7-6? Like Scotty said, this division, 500 could put you in the playoffs or maybe even get you a wild card spot. But Atlanta, they're supposed to be a little bit more dominant today. They're coming in at 500. Can they get over the hump? Go ahead, Jeff.
You know, this is one of those games that is literally a coin flip. A lot of the so-called funny guys picked Atlanta to sneak out and win this division, where the sharper people were all in on New Orleans. Scotty's Tampa Bay, you know, I like, you know, other than the record, I think Baker has done a very serviceable job. You know, he has some offensive weapons. The defense has been spotty at times, but my point is, you know, you would think Atlanta would actually be favored by a little more here in the dome controlled settings. You know, this is obviously a game that they're supposed to win, and a game that basically will set them apart from, you know, Atlanta and the bottom of the division, and really focus on the Saints moving forward. I think the line smells, to be honest with you. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored. I think it will get over the 40-41 number. And when the dust settles, whether it's Koo from 50 and a walk-off, or you know, Baker Mayfield to Mike Evans or Rashad White, you know, with the winning touchdown. This is going to be a fourth quarter game. I like the over, though, JB. That's my ticket.
Likes the over in this game, telling you where to put the cash in your pocket. I'm looking at it like, look, Tampa Bay, it's a must win. We know Atlanta's got to get somewhere, but Tampa Bay has got 2 more wins to climb and straw back. Man, I have no idea what I was getting ready to say. I was going to say try to claw back from 5-7. I'm talking about straws and backs. Oh, man, it's a little bit wild. Take the Bucks, people. The Bucks will put some cash in your pocket. Rotation number 113. Let's move along to another team today that I've been looking at for the past couple of weeks. Been very confusing. Feast or famine. They've got the hook on them today, and I don't like it. Talking about Baltimore, rotation number 108. The Ravens, -7.5 today, 39.5. You got the Rams coming in. Rams, shockingly, 6-6. They're a dog that has been barking all season. Looking at Matthew Stafford, very, very long in the tooth, but somehow he's maintaining his health. So when I see that, I'm saying that offensive line has been a little bit better. But last week, he got banged up on his hand. So when you talk about their win over the Cleveland Browns, pretty dominant, 36-19. They were favored, -3.5 against the spread. Are the Rams now making a push to get back to the playoffs? No one is talking about them No one has them circled on their playing list or their betting list, but they have been relatively consistently bobbing around that 500 mark. And when they win, but when they lose big. So let's throw this one at you, Scotty. Beam him up, Webb. How do you like the Rams coming out today? Is there any chance that these guys got any opportunities to really get into the game, because they've got a ton of injuries? Tyler Higbee is out. Knock was out. So that's two offensive players that you really need that are not there. But go ahead.
Well, this one's really one of my favorite plays on the board today. I think there's a reason why the line opened 7.5 and it's still 7.5. So typically, if you are looking to bet the Rams, that number would be gone already. The 7.5 would be 7 or 6.5 by now if all the people were out there going, man, this is the best thing in the world. Let's go bet the Rams. So I think number one, that tells you a lot about what the market thinks about Baltimore. I think number two, in this particular matchup, I saw a podcast by somebody earlier in the week, and they were showing matchups, and it was great information in a sense of formations and matching up to formations. And this is one of those spots where Baltimore dominates. So the Rams are going to come in here, and what they do is perfect for how Baltimore's defense matches up. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to a matchup spot, I like Baltimore. And then the other part of this is a road game outside, and the Rams play a lot of stuff indoors, and they don't do that well outdoors. And not only that, but this is going to be a weather deal. There's a lot of rain expected in this game. And one of the things I saw earlier in the week was, Matthew Stafford and playing in the rain. He hasn't done that since back in 2017. I mean, that's a long time ago, man. That's 7 years ago.
Wow.
And his record in the rain is 1-5 with 10 touchdowns and 12 interceptions and only 56% completion.
Man. Sounds like you're saying to take those dirty birds, the Baltimore Ravens. I'll throw this one over to you, Jeff Dawson. No grease was given to the Los Angeles Rams. Again, rotation number. Let me pull that back up for you here. The L.A. Rams. Man, the rotation number thing switched over here. But go ahead, Jeff Dawson, your thoughts.
108.
108. Perfect. Thank you so much for that, Scotty. When you talk about the Rams, again, I got a guy who hasn't played in the rain since the desert stopped having rain, but they're playing against a team right now who I haven't felt that in some cases. Every time I bet them, when they have any spread over 3.5, they always let me down. Always let me down. And it's a continual situation. If you actually look at their spread betting, they're 8-4 against the spread. So there have been those 4 times, 2 out of those 4, where I got caught on the hook. 7.5 today. Is this a good buy down? Go ahead.
Scotty nailed all the bullet points. This is the number one weather game in the NFL. 100% chance of rain. Wind gusts 20 to 30 miles an hour throughout the whole game. Wet, sloppy track. This will be the Lamar Jackson leg show. Keaton Mitchell. Jump on the Gus bus. Maybe even a little Justice Hill. Ravens coming off their bye. Scotty made a great point. Sharps see a number of 7.5. They jump on in this because why? It's going to dip to 7 or even 6.5. That hook is usually key. That number hasn't moved. Vegas is telling me this game that this should be, a Ravens double-digit win. The under-over opened at 44.5, and because of the weather ahead is 39.5. JB, this has got that 27-10, 27-13 written all over it. I think this is a Ravens early and often, and McVay's going to leave the jet going, maybe even bow out at halftime, JB.
Telling you, I love it. I do too, man. I think it's going to be a 3 yards in a cloud of dust type of game. Because of the weather, I don't think we're going to see a lot of passes, so I like the under in this particular matchup. Then we're going to do one more game before I take this short commercial break. I got him in studio, guys, because you know something is wrong with that antenna. He got up this morning, my main man. Mark Hayes, Chief here over at KSHP Sports handicapper in his own right, and as well as a former DB for the UNLV Rebels. And shout out UNLV for protecting those students. You know, we hate to see stuff like that happen. You know, rest in peace to the 3 people that lost their life. But again, shout out to the law enforcement agencies that reacted and got out there on time and saved lives here in Vegas. So we got them. 2 Vegas guys on the line when we get back with you. Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors. Of course, Scotty Webb from MLBDaily.com. When I take this short commercial break, guys, want to go into one quick early game they talked about yesterday when I got home from dinner. I don't even know why it was on in Vegas. Rotation number 115, the Indianapolis Colts are heading out to Cincinnati to play the Bengals. Rotation number 116. This one's going to be a snoozer. I'm not even watching this game. You got a 7-5 team who shouldn't be 7-5. Somehow the Indianapolis Colts are squeaking out on that. Mark Hayes is here in studio. He didn't think they'd be too good this year, but they've been pulling out some cash. 8-4 against the spread. But when you talk about Cincinnati, 5-6 and 6-6 overall, I don't think we're going to see them in the AFC Championship this year. Real quick, 30 seconds, Jeff Dawson, and then Scotty, 10 seconds. Whatever you guys got. We got about 30 seconds left on the screen. Go ahead.
Yeah, you were spot on. This is an Indy team that lost their quarterback immediately with Anthony Richardson. Mr. Taylor, the running back's been off the field more than on the field. And then Gardner Minshew Mania, finding ways. Jake Brown, and with the stunner last Monday in Jacksonville, comes back to earth. I think the Colts and their ground game will find a way to eke out a win, JB.
They say the ground game, another one of these backup quarterback matchups, is why I'm not watching it. Jeff Dawson, thank you so much for that analysis. Scotty, got about 10 seconds. Who do you like in this game, Indianapolis or Cincinnati? Go ahead.
Well, I like the over in this game. I know it went from 40 to 44. I got it at 43.5. I think 44 is okay. The issue is Cincinnati's defense is one of the worst defenses in the NFL, and the Colts just play overs all the time. That's all they do is play overs.
That's all they do. Guys, we'll take a short commercial break. When you get back, I got him, my main man, Mark Hayes in studio. We're talking a little bit of Raiders today. Back here in Las Vegas. You keep it locked, JB the Ticket. Let's get the money.
You're listening to the boss of the big four, JB the Ticket. Vegas Scoreboard Express, giving you that grease.
Shopping is always easy with the Radio Shopping Show. Whether it's shopping during any one of our live shows right here on AM 1400 or listening live on the KSHP app, you can always call in at 702-221-7283 to pick up great deals with your favorite host. Or shop 24/7 at KSHP.com. Go to KSHP.com and select Shopper's Guide to browse hundreds of businesses featured on the show. Place your order online and we'll have it shipped right to your front door. With so many possibilities, it's hard not to shop.
Skip your cable bill this month and join the action with JB and Fubo TV. Get 7 days free, 15% off your first month. No credit check, no deposit, no installation hassle. Go to FuboTV.com/JB. Sign up, download the app, and start watching games.
Enjoy being a subscriber after the first month. Easy cancellation anytime. Regional restrictions apply. Sign up at VegasScoreboardExpress.com.
JB the Ticket, Vegas Scoreboard Express. I'm back at you live. Got him in studio with me, my main man, Mark Hayes, KSHP Studio Director. Mark, good morning to you.
Hey, good morning, man. I'm up.
There you go. He's in studio loud and clear.
Oh, yeah.
Got my guys, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and Scotty Webb from MLB-Daily.com on the line with me. Good morning. So glad to have you guys all on the big board with me this morning. Now, we're going to talk a little bit of Vegas sports here. First and foremost, shout out to the UNLV Rebels. These guys are going over to the Guaranteed Mortgage Rate Bowl over in Phoenix, but they're not going to have their starting quarterback. Maivia has entered the transfer portal. And again, you're listening to JB the Ticket, Vegas Scoreboard Express. My main man, Mark Hayes, station director here in studio with us, and Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investor, still on the line. Good afternoon, almost to afternoon for you, Jeff. I'm telling you, this morning, I don't know what time it is. It's early, it's crazy. And of course, Scotty, why did this kid jump in the transfer portal, Mark? I want to know, because when we discovered him this summer at the camps, I thought that he had what it would take to be a winner if Brumfeld went down. You know, Brumfeld is very, very injury prone. It just seems to happen. He won the starting job, kept the starting job. Now you got Brumfeld coming back to start for their bowl game. Any reason why I wasn't happy? I mean, they gave him the reins, you know, Mountain West Freshman of the Year. I think he was a part of the freshman All-America class. What happened?
Yeah, I don't think it was a situation of him being unhappy. I mean, you're the starting quarterback. You lead a team to one of the best records they've had in team history. You also break a lot of team records. He also was the Mountain West Freshman of the Year. So he got a lot of accolades throughout the season. Him and Barry Odom's relationship was good. He had a good relationship with Marion, the offensive coordinator. So everything was intact there. I talk every week on our show on Tuesday about with Hunky Cooper, who's kind of right there in the middle of everything. And I hadn't had a chance to really dive into what exactly is going on with him in the transfer portal. But I'm going to relate it to most kids that we've seen jump in the transfer portal. You got 1,300 kids in the transfer portal. A lot of them are jumping in, like we discussed yesterday. They're jumping in because they want a payday, right? they want to find a place where they can go get paid. They don't have nothing to do with records. They can go into a team and be a worse record than the team they were on previously. But if they get that extra $200,000, which UNLV probably can't pay them. And so, I see him and, you know, just kind of forecast. I see him, you know, he's from Hawaii. Kid went to Liberty High School. I think he takes his talent down to Hawaii because of so many kids that jumped in the transfer portal. He's probably in that second or third tier of, players that's getting looked at. I thought he should have stayed at least one more year, see if he could repeat what he did this year. But he jumped in just like most of the other kids jumped in. When you start seeing kids jumping in from teams that were 11-1 and 9-2, that just tells you that these kids are jumping ship because of a better payday, maybe somewhere else, maybe even a different conference where they can make a little bit more money. And I think that's what Maeva did. And hey, you know, can't blame him. Pack his bags, you know, thank you for what he did and his, you know, just like they say, thanks for his services as far as being a part of the UNLV football team. And I think he heads down. I mean, forecast. I mean, Hawaii just lost their quarterback. I'm sure Hawaii has a little bit of money. They can splurge on him. The kid is from Hawaii. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see him as a Rainbow next year and an opportunity to play against UNLV next season if they're on the schedule.
Well, you know that UNLV defense is going to be running on him. Difficult. Just touching on a little bit of college football. I'll throw this one over at you, Scotty, beam him up, Webb. Your thoughts about a lot of these players jumping in the transfer portal? I know it's going to be happening down in Florida. A lot of the kids at Florida State, because they were denied a chance at the national championship, they're looking to jump out of the conference, the ACC. Did you read about that? There's players who are decommitting from ACC schools because of what happened. Let's talk about that a little bit. Go over to you, Scotty.
Yeah, I think the nil thing is spot on with a lot of this stuff, and I think the other thing that I think is important to keep in mind, there's a ton of these kids out there that went into the transfer portal, but a lot of these kids are also players that are looking for a chance to play. They're behind somebody else, and they didn't get a chance, and they're still good players, so they're trying to find another spot. So when you think about 1,300 kids that are out there, there's spots you can find on the internet. Just look for them, and you can see snap counts. You can see how much they actually played. And, you know, like Ohio State, for example, has got, I think, 13 kids, something like that, 12 kids. Well, there's only like a couple of them that were actual players that actually played at Ohio State on a big level, and they want to move on and they want to get their money elsewhere as well. I also read a thing where the nil money is helping out. For example, Marvin Harrison Jr. At Ohio State, for example, he's being offered in the neighborhood of like $20 million to stay at Ohio State and come back, as opposed to going into the NFL draft. And if that's the case, I mean, why wouldn't you do that?
Right.
You're going to make as much money, if not more.
Right. I mean, he's going to get more guaranteed to stay in college, and I think this is what we're going to see. Jeff Dawson, I'll throw this one at you. You've got the Boston College Eagles in the ACC. You're seeing a lot of teams now not want to even deal with the college football playoff. And I know it's going to expand next year. Got about 5 minutes left to keep touching on this college football. Then we'll jump into this Raiders game. But as Mark said, the kids seem to be looking for the payday. Scotty just brought up a $20 million payday for a college football player. I mean, if we would have said this when I was playing college football, me and my coach would probably still be in jail for fraud now, okay? And they would have taken away our record. No one would even know I played. But at the same time, Jeff Dawson, how is this going to affect some of the more academic stalwart schools? You're seeing things that we don't talk about on this show begin to affect institutions, endowments and things, stupid things being said, but we won't get into that. How is this going to change the effect of the high school recruiting and overall recruiting? Because you're going to see a lot of guys now, kind of like the NFL. If you're on a losing team, you get playing time at the end of the year, try to maybe get traded to a playoff contender or put yourself out there for a valuable free agent. Terrible team, gaudy stats. Give you about a minute on that. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's funny. Prime came right out with it this week, and he talked about the high school students and the disadvantage that they're automatically in now is the fact, Prime said it, he goes, why would I go after a high school student when I can go to the portal and I can grab 2 or 3 guys with already experience? They're ready to play. So the high school student is, the 5 stars are different versus, the 2, 3, 4 stars that most people are going after, and you talked about BC. I covered their home games. They had 7 of them this year, 7 next year, and was with a gentleman, Mark Linehan, yesterday and Friday, real close to Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly was in town over the weekend doing some recruiting as well, and they was talking about the portal. It's $1.5 to $2 million for a real quarterback. You saw Gabriel leave Oklahoma, Oregon, lose Bo Nix, in comes Gabriel next year. So it's just plug and play. So as much as we wanted to pay these kids, and I feel that they should also be paid, but don't forget they're also getting a scholarship, academic achievement, a degree that they'll have for life versus, 2, 3, 5 years in the NFL. So it's almost like a catch-22, JB.
It is, guys. Let's jump back into this NFL. Got about 3 minutes left before we get out of here. Want to talk about it here in Las Vegas today. They're coming to town. The Vikings, rotation number 121, 6-6, 5-7 for the Raiders, rotation number 122 at +3. I like the Raiders in this dog position today. Mark Hayes, we'll throw this one at you. Starting quarterback has been an issue. Jimmy Garoppolo, still fashionable, but does he remain on the sideline today with some of that questionable play from Aiden O'Connell this weekend?
Yeah, he's Jimmy Garoppolo is probably going to be looking for a new home. His time here in Vegas, it kind of only reason they didn't let him go with McDaniels is because he's a decent guy to have on the roster when he's healthy. But I think McConnell finishes the season. He's going to be a part of this Antonio Pierce tree. I don't see McConnell coming out as far as a switch at this point in the season. I think McConnell leads this team all the way to the end of the year, and hopefully, if he's capable of being a starter next year, that's to be seen. Just like Antonio Pierce, is he going to be the head coach?
I look at it like this, man. Those are 2 questions where I'm like, look, I gave the Raiders a lot of grease this year. They got rid of the coach. I told you a lot of the problems. There's too many quality quarterbacks in this draft. They got to go straight to the draft.
Yeah.
You got Jaden Daniels right there on a 7-3 LSU team. Shout out Jaden Daniels. He won a Heisman Trophy with a team that's not even going to a big-time bowl game.
Yeah.
You got Bo Nix sitting right there up the I-5. You got to do smart things. Got about a minute left. Jeff Dawson on the side today. Raiders +3. Who do you like?
I'm usually the anti-Raider on your show. I apologize. The return of Justin Jefferson. Joshua Dobbs exposed in his last game, 4 picks. I love the Raiders +3.5. I love the money line. I think it's going to be a huge day for Josh Jacobs. So anyone playing DFS, get him on the 2 touchdowns or more today. I think he has a huge day.
Telling you right now, Raiders, huge day. Scotty, beam him up, Webb. Do you think the Minnesota Vikings continue to expose themselves and go out 6-7 from Vegas, and Vegas come up to 6-7? Got about 4 or 5 weeks left. The Raiders could maybe get a wild card spot if they get hot. Got about 30 seconds left. Go ahead.
Well,
Well, I think these are two teams that their defenses have been improving quite a bit. I think their offenses have a lot to be desired, and I think Joshua Dobbs, he went over there and won a few games for the Vikings, and now he's been kind of exposed as to really what he is and why he's a backup quarterback. So I tend to have this one as a struggle for me. I don't know who's going to win this game. I can see it go either way. I don't mind taking the dog position here, but this game opened, I think, -1. Now it's up to -3 for a reason.
There you go. Guys, we got to get out of here. Got about 20 seconds left. Thank you so much for stopping by the big board. Shouting out Las Vegas today. Raiders got to get it done. Mark Hayes, final pick, 5 seconds, and we got to rock.
Raiders, baby. Let's go. Just win.
Get the money, JB the ticket. Let's do it.
Vegas scoreboarding. JB the ticket.